An announcement today out of the FDA. Also, a new survey just released about the president and the surprising responses. And what economists are now saying about 2022 and 2023, and a stimulus package update along with your daily news. Let's get right into it. But if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe by hitting that button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you every single day with all the latest updates. As information is changing very rapidly right now, we need to keep a pulse on everything going on so that anytime something comes out that we could take advantage of, whether it's money, stimulus, benefits, programs, anything else, I want to make sure that I'm right here by your side giving you those updates and exactly all the steps you need to take advantage of it. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Subscribe to the channel, hit that button right down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get right into the video. Alright, so we have a lot to talk about in this one, so let's buzz our way through these headlines one at a time. First off, earlier today, the FDA was out announcing that they have fully approved the Moderna COVID vaccine for those individuals who are 18 and older. So, good to know. Next, let's quickly talk about this new survey about the president that was just released and kind of some surprising responses. Now again, I'm not going to give my opinions on any of this. I'm just simply giving you the information that I found. Alright, so according to this survey, 50% of voters that were actually surveyed said that they would be in support of impeaching the current president. Now, of those people that responded, 34% of them identified as Democrats. Now, you might be wondering, why? Why are so many people feeling this way? Well, they brought it down to a couple different reasons. Number one, the border crisis between the United States and Mexico is number one, and the Afghanistan withdrawal. Because of these two reasons, people are feeling like, that's kind of how I feel right now. So again, that's not my words. This is simply what these surveys and what they are saying out there right now. Now again, I don't take sides in my videos. I simply tell you what I'm finding out there with all of my research. Next, let's quickly talk about what economists are now saying about 2022 and even into 2023. Yeah, if you've been watching my videos for a while now, you can probably guess. Our favorite word of the day, once again, starts with an I. Yeah, inflation. Exactly. Inflation is just beating the whole economy and everything up right now. So, economists right now are basically saying this inflation is going to eat this economy alive. It cannot sustain. It is not sustainable. For short periods of time, yeah, inflation can run very hot for a while, but it's going to catch up to it, and this is not sustainable for a long period of time, and this is ultimately going to lead to a recession. Well, we know how that's going to lead to, right? That's not a good sign for a lot of ways. But anyway, so these economists are coming out right now saying this inflation has got to get under control. They've got to do something about this. This is not sustainable, and realistically, based on how everything is looking right now, they're anticipating this is likely going to lead through the vast majority of 2022, and we're probably going to see a pretty deep recession probably at some point in 2022, more likely in 2023. So, wow, we'll have to see what happens here. Only time will tell, right? But basically, they're saying if this continues to move on as the way that it is here going forward, it's inevitable. Recession will be happening. So again, these are the words of the economists, not me. But anyway, let's quickly talk about a new report that was just released on Friday. This is personal consumption expenditures. In other words, how much money are we spending on the consumables, the things that we go out and buy at the store, the consumables, the personal consumption expenditures. So basically, we go out, we buy the consumables, and how much are we expending on that is basically what it means, right? So that came in at 5.8% on a report just a few days ago. But what does all this mean? Let me break it down to you a little bit more. I think this is going to be a little bit surprising, but at the same time, not all that much. Basically, what it's doing is it's showing inflation across multiple different sectors here and things that we all spend money on probably every single month. Check this out. Energy was up in the month of December. Energy was up 29.9% over the year prior. That is massive. Let's just call it 30%. It's a tenth of a percent off of 30%. Let's just call it 30% from 1 year prior. That is huge. All of us use energy to heat our homes, to cool our homes, to boil water on the stove, to heat, all this stuff, to watch TV, everything. We use energy all the time, right? It's up 29.9% in December over a year prior. That's huge, right? Food. All of us eat food, or at least drink food, or, we do something. We consume something. That was up 5.7% from the year prior. So again, huge, right? When it comes to services, so like services, you go out and you get a haircut. You go out and you get your oil changed, services, things like this. This was up 4.3% from a year prior. And lastly, goods. So like goods, the things that are not consumables as far as like food, all right, I should say consumable, but yet not food, like maybe, tissues and Q-tips and, all the stuff like toothpaste, that kind of stuff. All that was up 8.8% over the year prior. So for anybody that says that inflation is not a thing right now, they've been living in a cave for at least a year or more, right? So inflation is a real thing. In fact, that almost be I was going to say it would have been a fun experiment. No, it would not be a fun experiment to live in a cave for a year. But I was going to say it would have been a fun experiment to live in a cave for a year, starting in, let's just say, like November of 2020, and then come out right now and be like, oh, wow, my $100 gets me virtually nothing these days, right? So anyway, that was a bad idea. Like I said yesterday in my video, a lot of my ideas are really bad. That's another bad one. We can chalk it up and say right there that living in a cave for a year would not be a fun experiment. We could just look in history and we could do that. We wouldn't need to spend a year living in a cave to figure out that our $100 is practically worthless today versus a year ago. Oh yeah, see, there you go. One of my ideas that comes up to be a really bad one. All right. So let's quickly talk about the stimulus package and what we know as of right now, where we currently stand, what lawmakers are currently saying. Here's what they're getting at. They're finally starting to recognize that inflation is running a little bit hot right now. Wow, maybe they were living in a cave for the last year. I'm not really sure. But lawmakers, according to what they're saying, are finally starting to recognize that this inflation is getting to the people, right? It's starting to eat away at our money, starting to eat away at the purchasing power of our dollars. We're starting to buy less goods and services with our money. Yeah, and they're starting to realize that, oh, we should probably get something done here. So they're still working on the stimulus package right here, right now. What is actually going to be coming in this package, we don't really know. However, some lawmakers have been coming out saying that as a result of the child tax credit, again, I know that a lot of you here in the community may not get the child tax credit, but we have to use this as a reference point because this is what they're currently talking about right now in reference to struggling Americans. So we kind of have to use with the data and the information, the remarks, the quotes, the things like this that we have at our disposal based on what they're currently saying. But they're starting to say that because the child tax credit payments were not sent out this month, remember January of this year, they were not sent out. So they're going to say that between 10 and 17,000 children are going to be falling back into poverty this month alone because those checks didn't go out. Well, I always just want to send out like a news flash to them and be like, do you realize how many older adults, seniors, the elderly, people with disabilities live in poverty every single month as a result of benefits that are not enough? So they're saying that these children, again, we don't want anybody to live in poverty, but my point is, they're saying that these between 10 million and 17 million kids will fall back into poverty this month. And I feel like, what about the, 50 million older adults and people with disabilities that currently live in poverty every single month right now? What are we doing about them? So anyway, I'm going to get all fired up if I keep going. So I should probably just leave it right there. But they are currently working on the stimulus package. They're currently working their way through this. They are negotiating the parameters on this thing. And again, we have to continue to use the child tax credit as a little bit of a talking point because this is what may possibly give birth to the adult tax credit. Again, something we've talked about here a little bit over the last few days. There's a little bit of talk about that. It would potentially be thousands of dollars, but because of that, it may actually give birth to a potentially same type of program, but yet for adults as well. That's why you got to continue watching all this stuff closely. And as far as stimulus checks, of course, who knows at this point? It's all up in the air right now. Nothing is definitive. Even their most important provisions of the plan, which is the climate, $550 billion for climate, even that is not a guarantee quite yet. So the best we can do is just continue watching this every single day and actually just see what happens on a day-to-day basis and just kind of keep it going from there and just keep you updated. So this is what I have for you as of right now. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share this video or go back and check out any of the other 2,100 videos right here on the channel. And stay tuned as Corey, my wife, will be back here in just a minute with the new updated list of shout shout-outs for the names that are pulled right out of the fan club. If you're interested in joining the list for shout-outs in our videos or the fan club, feel free to check that out down in the description. Otherwise, at the top of the comment section, you can check it out there, and you can join the list for shout-outs right here in our videos. So, with that being said, Corey, take it away, and I'll catch you again later in the next video. All right, Corey, it's all you.
Today, we are doing shout-outs for Svetlana Marks, Wanda Williams, Robert Sandwell, Carmen Caputh, Paul Larkin, Chris Solden, and Felicia Rittenberry. Thank you for being members of the fan club.